This is fascinating. Um, the big news of the day, obviously, is the Bored Ape airdrop. Um, if you were on Twitter today, all you heard all day was people like, thanking Bored Ape Yacht Club, thanking God. I read stories of people cashing out and making 70, $80,000 and saying that's more than my annual income, and this is life changing, and I can buy a house now. And it just shows the power of NFTs. It shows the power of what this community is, and it also shows that we're incredibly early, because these opportunities are not going to come as often, or as they're not going to be as possible when you have a billion people purchasing this stuff every day, or buying and selling and trading. It's just not going to happen. It'll look more like the stock market, where if it moves, 1% a day or 3% a day, it's massive. If it drops 10% a day, it's huge news. Where for us, it's like a Tuesday. Um, and of course, there's the outliers. I saw Dingaling posted. He has like 40 or 50 Bored Apes, and I mean, just he had so many Bored Ape characters from Macy, Kennel Club, and BAYC, that it was just like this tiny little graphic filled with characters, and you're like, oh my god, this dude just made $100 million. So there's this interesting spread where everybody who had any kind of anything inside of the ecosystem, and I know that that's not everybody, because the prices went up so fast when Bored Ape launched, and even Macy and all these things are very hard to get into. But for everybody that had a piece of that, it was a tremendous day. And really, even if you don't own anything from Bored Ape or Yuga Labs, understand that this is the possibility of the space. This will happen again, and it may happen to you, right? Whether it's with Bored Ape, whether it's with adult fantasy, whether with it's somebody else. This is not going to be a one-off. This is not a lone occurrence. We are in a hype phase, but this is the early adopter phase, right? We're on the way up of that curve. Once we hit that peak, which is probably another 5, maybe even another 10 years out, let me tell you, everyone on this call and everybody watching this is going to do just fine. Just stay in the game. So here's some of the stuff that is going on, and I'll check out chat here in just a minute. So please, if you guys have any questions, or if you want to talk about anything, by all means, post away, and we'll cover it for sure. So the first thing that I noticed this morning is that as it was announced and as it was released, so the drop was amazing in that they gave people relatively no time. If you if you logged on to Twitter on Monday and had a busy week, and you're coming back to Twitter tomorrow, you just missed everything. you missed so much. Like, I am waiting to see people tomorrow on Twitter, or Saturday, or next week, say, wait, I was out of town last week. What did I miss? Like, it's just going to be bananas. One of the things that I found fascinating, and this is going to be a nice loop, is that immediately upon launch, upon the drop, besides all the drama and the interest of the price of the Ape token, was all of the partnerships that started to drop. And what's fascinating is that these are not necessarily pre-planned partnerships, meaning certainly some of the partnerships were announced were planned between Bored Ape Yacht Club, Yuga Labs, and their partner. So the fact that they launched on Binance, the fact that they launched on Coinbase, all of this stuff was planned for sure. The fact that they launched on Gemini, all of that stuff happened at exactly the same time. That's not a coincidence. And all of those platforms, this just shows you how much hype there was behind it. All of those platforms announced that they were carrying the coin at the same time. I don't really remember a time where all of these major exchanges announced at the same time that we've got the coin. Come to our platform. We've got it. Come buy it from us. Unbelievable. The fact though, beyond the exchanges, the partnerships that came out, like this one from Nway Play, and this is just, I don't know Nway Play. It's just something that I captured. This was just one of several, and I decided to keep this one. We're excited to announce we'll be adopting ApeCoin and a new play to earn game that's currently being developed by Nway and Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? So maybe this was a direct partnership, maybe not, but you can see from Giancarlo, who we'll be talking about here in a minute, can't keep up, right? Just tons of memes, like the Kanye meme, and people are, my brain is fried now. Wait, is it Christmas already? Amazing how they are all posting at the same time. Are they all in the same room, Zoom call? And this is because what's happening, like people were just freaking out. And the reason that people were freaking out is because all of these independent projects had realized, hey, this is a token. This is a token for the metaverse. We can now use that token as almost like a derivative, right? So with Bored Ape, you own the ape, you own the character, you can do whatever you want with it. You can put it on iced tea, you can make a rug out of it, you can put it on a t-shirt, you can put it in a video game, do what we did, make a derivative and create a trading card out of it, and I own the character, so we can do comics out of it. We can put in animation and TV shows and movies and all of that kind of cool stuff. All of these other companies that didn't have an ape or didn't have necessarily a use for the IP of the ape said, wait a minute, now this is an IP that we can use. This is a coin that we can use in our ecosystem, and it's hugely popular, and we can cash in on that popularity. So not only will they get the attention of Bored Apes, but now since there's a coin, a token that anybody can purchase, and we'll look at the price here in a minute, but it fluctuated today, but it's somewhere right now between $7 and $10. So that means anybody can own it. Even if you can only buy one, pretty much everybody has $10. So, or, most people, at least in the first world here. So it opens the door to an entire new realm of player, people who want to be associated with the Bored Ape brand, who want to be associated with the Yuga Labs brand, and now they can buy that token and use it in a completely unrelated game. And that game can kind of capture some of that brand aura. So I find that very fascinating. So that started off the day, even though this one was like at 5:16 p.m. This was happening all day. And that brings me to this one. We're going to talk about Giancarlo. Giancarlo has a really great YouTube channel. You can Google his name, Giancarlo, and it'll pop up. I suggest you do, because it's really good. It's a great YouTube channel. In fact, let me pop off this banner real quick so you guys can see this a little more clear. I don't need to completely show 100% of the time. So I'm going to read this, and you guys let me know what you think. So this says, there's a big shift happening in the NFT space right now, and Ape is only half the story. If we look at NFTs in 2021, it was all about individual collections, BAYC, Doodles, CyberKongs, etc., all competing to cement their community and status as a so-called blue chip. But in 2022, we're seeing a new type of project gain popularity, the NFT ecosystem. I'm going to come back to that. Some context. We actually did see quite a few NFT tokens in 2021. For some reason, creators thought it was a thing they needed to do. But they found that it's really hard to give a token enough utility and value when you only have a single collection. You need to expand. Some projects expanded by adding more collections under their banner. CyberKongs made Baby Kongs, BAYC made Macy, and so on. This helps, but it's still not enough. And I totally agree. How do you kick it up a notch? You build an NFT ecosystem that goes beyond your own assets. I hope you know where I'm going to go with this. These NFT ecosystems are simple. 1, launch a token. 2, set up a partnership fund. 3, use the fund to convince creators to use your token. 4, question mark. 5, profit. It's not a new model, but it seems to fit perfectly with NFTs. Some of the most popular projects from the last few months are using this model: Magic, World, Gala, Sand, and now Ape. No doubt we'll see more in the coming months, for sure about that. In an ideal scenario, these ecosystems are a win-win. Creators integrating the token benefit from liquidity and marketing. As more projects use the token, it becomes scarce, good for holders. Plus, with their own marketplace, they can generate fees as well. So now there's probably a race happening. Blue chips turn almost into studios and use their initial momentum to create networks out of thin air. Then they compete to onboard the best upcoming projects, and more bundling will happen. Who wins? Honestly, I don't know. Some could get really big and others can integrate with a niche. Could Azuki land a token for anime inspired brands? Maybe. All I know is that it's a good time to start a new project. There are some war chests out there ready to support you. So this, he's onto something. I think he misses a little bit about it. He nails it, and then he kind of goes to what's happening immediately without looking at the future. So he's 100% correct about 2021. So 2021 was 100% PFP. One of our challenges as a project was that we knew that was a fad. Not that NFTs are a fad, mind you, that just launching a project that had a PFP from the shoulders up, even though it looks good in the square on OpenSea, by itself, it's temporary. It's very easy to launch, meaning that anybody can launch it. And when that happens, not that that's a bad thing, but it opens the door for a lot of crap. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that there has to be something beyond just the image. And in 2022, he's correct when he says that some projects now are expanding by adding more collections. This was true in 2021 as well. They made Baby Kongs, Mace, Macy, Pixel Vault, which I probably will mention multiple times in every video. This is their model, right? We talked about this, I believe, yesterday, where Pixel Vault's one of the challenges, in my opinion, Pixel Vault has is that they have this huge project that they want to do, which is this AAA game, which they absolutely are going to make. But there's this gap in time. So they have to keep the energy up, which is drop after drop after drop after drop after drop, and create micro games like play to earn games or play and earn games to kind of keep the hype going while this large project is being built. It's very, very difficult to do. So kudos to them for doing it, but I don't think that's the only way. How do you kick it up a notch? You build an NFT ecosystem that goes beyond your own assets. True. The ecosystem, though, I believe is actually different than this. Launch a token. So his premise is that the NFT ecosystem is determinant on launching a token from scratch. That is true for larger projects. If you're a larger project, 100% your time is for the token and a DAO, right? That's what happens. You get big, you launch a token, you launch a DAO. That's kind of the path right now. But he's wrong in that this is and again, in my opinion, he's wrong that this is sort of the only path. If you're a top 10 project right now, yeah, you're launching a token and a DAO, maybe even top 25, maybe even top 50. But this is not necessarily the only path. You're going to see a hell of a lot of this. After this ape drop, I promise you, every single project, good and bad, is going to try to launch a token and a DAO right now. But that's a mistake. While it's true, it is true that you build an NFT ecosystem that goes beyond your own assets. How do you do this? Well, the way you do it is this. He kind of nails it a little bit. Convince creators to use your token. Well, it's not about necessarily the token. It's about convincing creators and makers and interested people in utilizing the thing that you've made, utilizing the platform that you create. You guys know that I preach that the adult fantasy NFT is the platform. One of the things that separates us from everybody else is we say that the NFT is the platform. NFT is the platform. It is the medium is the NFT. Like, you don't need necessarily all of these other things. If you focus on the NFT as a platform, you can tie utility through the NFT. And so one of the things that I find fascinating that people are starting to hint at, but they're not hitting it yet, and it makes me very, very happy. And if you're a holder of adult fantasy, you should be very, very happy too. Is that as with yesterday, we saw people saying, "Hey, these people, Bored Ape just made a collection, and there's not a lot of people that have the whole collection. It would be interesting if you had the whole collection, because maybe Yuga Labs is going to do something for people that have the whole collection, like Pixel Vault did with people who have the whole collection." And you know that adult fantasy, we did that from the start. And now you have people talking about, here's the ecosystem. You need to build an ecosystem that goes beyond your own assets. Well, how do we think about that? Yes, you need an NFT ecosystem that goes beyond your own assets. Well, if the NFT is the platform and you build it in such a way that allows any creator or any creative team to launch their own brand in their own way and own the thing that they create and put their blood, sweat, and tears into, and when it sells, it just happens to benefit all of the holders of other adult fantasy tokens. For instance, the season 1 Genesis token. You have built yourself a pretty nice ecosystem. Does that make sense? As you have, the other way to do this is, instead of just jumping into a token and jumping into a DAO, is to say, look, why don't we build some partnerships? And why don't we grow the ecosystem through partnerships, so that other communities can have the benefit of connecting with our community, and our community can benefit by connecting through other communities, right? And then as those tokens launch, all of those communities benefit. You've seen hints of this in Discord, right? Like in Discord, you have giveaways where you'll say, hey, we partnered with the so-and-so project and they're partnering with us, and go over there and sign up, and you come over here and sign up, and one of these winners an NFT. That is a fractional tip of the iceberg for how to expand an NFT ecosystem. And it works. It absolutely works. So my takeaway from Giancarlo's post is that he's 100% correct in, you build an NFT ecosystem that goes beyond your own assets. He's wrong in thinking that you just launch a token. I shouldn't say he's wrong. He's correct in the way he's thinking. He's thinking for larger projects. He's not thinking for projects that have a much longer span and a longer ramp up time, which is what adult fantasy is. We're building a lot of deep code and large projects, and it's going to take time. We didn't just launch with a 10,000 PFP. So I found this fascinating, and I wanted to share this with you. So we're going to continue with this. This is a story night that I found absolutely interesting. So Zeneca posted. Zeneca is a fantastic influencer. He seems like a genuinely good dude. I don't know him, but I've talked to him a few times via Twitter, obviously DMs, and he's a good guy. I think I've DM'd him. I've definitely talked to him on Twitter. But here's what he says. Some thoughts on the BAYC from someone that was here from the beginning. At the time the BAYC launched, many new to the space were feeling a lot of fear of missing out, always looking at the CryptoPunks. That's true. I was feeling that 100%. Those who had them were early, right place, right time, and now had NFT PFPs worth 5 or 6 figures. 100%. When I jumped in, the CryptoPunks owners were the OGs. They had and still have all of the clout. They were the ones that decided what projects launched. They were the ones that decided which projects got known. They had a little bit of an ego and still do. Not all of them, but I've had some run-ins with some of them. They were seen as the big fish. They were the winners, right? Even more recent, hash masks were trading at prices that most couldn't afford or justify, and most new projects were dropping with crazy, insane bonding curves, FOMO price ramps that were very off-putting. Along comes BAYC, which dropped at 0.08. Can you imagine picking up Bored Ape at 0.08 at mint? By the way, they did not sell out right away. This is so important. I'm going to finish this sentence here, this little quote, this little tweet, and I'm going to come back to this. They did not sell out right away. It took a week for them to mint out. The night they minted out, that was quick, but they had been sitting open for minting for about a week. Like this is so important. Pixel Vault was the same way. Pixel Vault took 5 weeks for their initial comic to sell out, and they were huge. They had so much heat, and they still had trouble selling out. And this is for you guys. Speaking for myself, and if you are out there and you're thinking about launching your own project, I am here to tell you there is no written rule about what success looks like. Sure, everyone wants to sell out as fast as possible, right? And there always is going to be this myth of like, oh, the project didn't sell out, therefore it's not a good project. That's bullshit. I'm telling you, like right here, right now, that if you are a project or a company and your entire future of your business depends on you selling out of your very first project or product that hits the marketplace, you do not have a business. What you have is a get rich quick scheme. Okay. Like bar none. So the fact of reality for these companies and projects is different than perception of the public. You do not need to sell out right away. Does it feel good? Yes, it does. Does it, if you don't sell out, does it mean your project sucks? No, it doesn't. There are no written rules. We've only been in this game for like, okay, fine. 2017 was kind of like year zero for NFTs, but I'm going to say bullshit to that and say that 2021 was ground zero, year zero. Like last year was the first year that the stuff really took off. I mean, it's like, you know, it's the beginning of time. You have a long time. You're fine. Immediately after Mint Out, through a community, though, a community started forming, and a lot of it was one of counterculture, almost underdog-esque. The BAYC started from a place of being a lot more accessible and inclusive than almost any other project before it. That doesn't mean it's very inclusive. It's definitely more on the male-dominated side, and clearly it's prohibitive place-wise for almost everyone now. And of course, there were other projects that also did mint on a bonding curve or that were more inclusive in other ways, yada, yada, yada. But the price at the time was $150 for a cool PFP. So lots of people adopted them and started creating derivatives and cool art based on their apes, something we hadn't really seen before. The IP licenses never really allowed it, and people weren't so carefree and blasé about derivatives than they are as now. This is true. Like, I remember people talking about how you got to remember, there wasn't like some big master plan for Bored Apes. Like what you're seeing today and this DAO and the coin and all this stuff, it really is not. It wasn't planned. Like these guys just were like, screw it, we don't care. Yeah, you own it. Okay, we just want to have fun. and that happened to be the big thing, the big invention. Like, hey, you can just own it. It didn't come from from like some kind of revolutionary, you know, incredible thought process. They were just like, fuck it, take it, do something with it. We don't know. Like that's all it was. That's all it was. People were posting about their apes on Twitter and having so much fun. And for a while, it wasn't just a community; it was the community. The new wave of the NFT space, trying to carve out a space for ourselves, as opposed to the old wave of CryptoPunks, etc. Ape follow ape, 100%. Golly, it's a long post, dude. Oh Jesus. All right, I forgot how long this was. Let's see. We're still a community. Community. BAYC is in some ways a bit of a double-edged sword, giving NFTs both a good and bad reputation. They've done a lot for mainstream adoption, but they're also gaining all the wrong sorts of attention too. People thinking all of NFTs equals expensive monkey JPEGs. Let me tell you, like that's going to happen with anything. That happens with fine art too. I come from the world of comics and fine art. Comics, everyone thinks is child, like for children. Like, oh, they still make comics now. Oh, my kid likes comics. And the opposite for fine art. Oh, fine art's for the elite. It's for the rich. You can't buy art. You can't make art. Like, like, oh, it's like the starving artist. You don't have to be a starving artist. I've met plenty of artists that are not starving, right? It's about business. It's all the same. So the people who think that all NFTs are expensive, or just they're expensive monkey JPEGs and they just don't get it, they're just basically biased. They have a false belief about things. They don't understand it, so therefore equals bad. That's about as simple as it gets. They don't look into it. They have a jaded mindset. I've been running into it lately too with like, I even have it written over here. Like, oh, what are the 4 common objections to NFTs? It's a scam. It's bad for the environment. It's only for the rich. It's only criminals use it. It's dark web money. Like, yeah, let's put aside the fact that criminals have used this thing called the dollar for about 100 years or more. Whatever. Like people have their own opinions. The people have to break out of that. Anyway, I think that the takeaway from Zeneca's post is it's a really nice piece of history, and I actually want to tie that in to Cosimo de Medici, who better known as Snoop Dogg, or probably more likely somebody on Snoop's team. This is actually a really interesting post, though, so I'm going to try to read most of it. It's a little long, so bear with me. We'll see how it goes, and I promise I won't narrate too much. Bernard Arnault acquired Christian Dior and turned it into Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. I'm gonna butcher these names. Christian Aldij. I don't know. I know Bernard Arnault. I don't know Ardije. I'm from the South. Sorry. Uh, Acquired Von Dutch and turned it into Ed Hardy. Now that Yuga Labs has acquired CryptoPunks, what will they do? Mid 2021, CryptoPunks are the #1 NFT project by every metric. In July, researching for my first NFT, I heard things in chats like, you buy a Bored Ape if you can't afford a punk. I heard that too. And that's why I bought. Or ape equals poor man's punk. I heard that too. That's why I bought. What happened next would shake the NFT world to its core. I cave and I buy a CryptoPunk on July 31st. Wild day in history, the highest punk sales day on record, 2 CryptoPunk ape sales, 2 zombie sales, and a sweep buy of 88 floor punks in a single day. Floor punk equals the lowest price punks. I remember this. And with this, the JPEG summer of 21 begins, spurred on by wise words from these guys. Insert notable influencers in the NFT space and other noted collectors. A hunt was on for the most historically significant NFTs. Those with the richest history were the most valuable, and all are put on a timeline related to Larva Labs projects. Clees were 1 week after our autoglyphs. Pepe's are the real OG, came before punks, or Twitter eggs and blockheads came before all. Man, I remember this like it was yesterday, and it was only like 12 months ago. And then other collections began to rank chronologically. Squiggles were the most significant art blocks project because they were first. Ringers and Fidenza were important because they were beautiful, complex, but also early. Meebits was the first 3D avatar project. But CryptoPunks, being both early, artsy, and having the most mainstream penetration, became the Bitcoin of NFT. Punk floor price was used to determine how the NFT market was holding up during crypto downturns. It said punks will be the first accepted by lending protocols. This is true. The first to have many assets fractionalized so they can be held by millions. And punks are even starting to be considered a store of value. In fact, I was first sold on NFTs when I saw punks held up better than Ethereum and Bitcoin during the Elon FUD crash of May 21. Come July, August, September, more celebs are entering the NFT space via punks than any other. And across NFTs, even punk rumor prices began a gauge of just how much a high-end NFT could be worth. What is a punk rumor price? There have been multiple offers, quote, there have been multiple offers to CryptoPunk ape owners of 6,000 to 7,000 ETH, all turned down. Quote, it's impossible to get an alien for under $60 million. Don't even ask. Quote, that would be the last zombie we ever see under 1,000 ETH. All exact quotes I heard in Q3 of 2021. Which led to comparisons like Fidenza's 612 and 938 are the aliens, will be worth $100 million. X Copy Art's X12 works are the aliens of super rare. Only 46 gold for Bored Apes. That's rarer than zombies. 46 gold for Bored Apes, rarer than zombies. The significance of what Larva Labs created cannot be overstated. Not just punks, but Meebits and autoglyphs too. Matt and John are some of the important artists, not just in the NFT, but in my opinion, all of human history. They're pretty darn important. I don't know about all of human history. While it's easy to get caught up in prices, what they built transcends money, and in my opinion, transcends branding, transcends commercialization. History will show that CryptoPunks were the catalyst of the entire NFT movement. That is true. But one day in November, one seemingly little thing Bored Ape Yacht Club gave you that CryptoPunks didn't started to mean something. You see, Bored Ape owners owned commercial rights to their ape. So ape holder Jimmy Eath, an A-list music manager, and A-list music manager Nicky Ads got together and formed an ape band. Jenkins and his 10 best-selling author Neil Strauss get together to make an ape book. Now, for the first time, people are seeing what is possible with commercial rights to an NFT. And while most don't plan to go commercial with their own Bored Ape, they know people like Jimmy and Jenkins doing things with theirs will bring eyes to all. And let's be honest, I know some of you dreamed your ape would one day be discovered by an ape agent and make it into a star. For sure, man. Plus, Bored Ape now has a manager. One of these, all he does is win types. Madonna and YouTube's manager crushed venture investing, and Guy is managing the broader brand. He immediately starts putting big ape wins on the board, while Larva Labs, for the most part, does nothing. But what what's happening behind the scenes in Punkland is also noteworthy. G Money and Punk's comics signed a big deal to bring Adidas into NFT. G is not allowed to use his infamous Ape Punk, though, because Punks are repped by United Talent Agency. See where it's headed? Where it's headed? And they want to save the rights to the Punks to make a movie or something that most Punk owners not secretly fear will be cringe. So G Money is told he can't use his Ape Punk, which is crazy. And he's forced to hire a branding company to instead create a new logo for himself. This is his logo. And rumor has it that United Talent tries to push our friend G Money out of the deal and do a CryptoPunks plus Adidas with no G Money, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, G Money and Punk's comic get together, get the deal done with Adidas, another win for NFTs. But in the community's eyes, another L for Larva Labs and CryptoPunks, as they see G Money had spent much time building a brand around his punk, billboards, major podcasts. The guy is a machine. But then come game time, his punk is on the bench. Again, 99% of CryptoPunks community is likely not building a commercial enterprise around their punk. But as a project after NFT project launches with commercial rights to owners, the knife twists. Then one of the brightest minds in NFT, Punk 4156, decides he is no longer having it. He protest dumps 40 plus punks, including his ape, which he Dutch auctions. Where were the buyers who were supposedly offering 6,000 ETH for an ape just weeks before when he sells for 2,500 ETH? It turns out either rumor prices are just that, or punks are, at least temporarily, bleeding value fast. In the meantime, celebrity after celebrity is entering the NFT space, but no longer via punks, via Bored Apes. And a project called World of Women, which is now also under the master hand of Guy Oseary. Then the unthinkable. The floor price of Bored Apes flips the floor price of CryptoPunks. The derivative has surpassed the original. The mighty king has fallen. And what the fuck do we do now? In summary, I feel this flippening happened because the great commercial rights debate, Larva Labs devs not doing something, BAYC devs doing lots of somethings, the resulting FUD of these somethings and nothings. But the real unthinkable is what happens next. Apes flipping punks not only kicks CryptoPunks from the number one spot, it kicks the entire historical is the most valuable thesis out the window. And that is 100% true. Early art blocks collection prices begin to fall. Rare Pepe prices begin to fall. Early one-of-one sales slow. Prices of historical NFTs sag across the board. The archaeological dig is over as mass money, both old and new, makes a rapid run towards, quote, finding the next Bored Ape. I was speaking with the founder of a successful mid-2021 profile picture project known in NFT land as PFP, who told me when asked in mid-2021 his thesis for future 10K PFP projects, quote, 99% will launch 0 and stay there. Too many already, no room for more. Yet the opposite happened. Punks dethroned kicks the rock out from under the historical thesis. Punks dethroned, got it. And full-blown PFP money grab mania ensues. Collectors turn into flippers. Robinhood traders turn into PFPers. I love this. This is brilliant. This is fantastic. It's dead on. It's 100% accurate. This is exactly what happened and exactly how it works. And this is also why it's changed, why this drop has kind of changed everything. And I think when you see the end of my little summary, my little thesis about where this stuff is going and how it's going to affect things, I think you guys will get it, get to where we're going, right? Now, with all of this success and all this happiness, it is important to say that it isn't all sunshine and roses. There are always going to be people that crap on your project, especially when it's a huge project like Bored Ape Yacht Club and the amount of money that they made as founders. I'm sure we'll be hearing about, I mean, they must be billionaires by now, which is pretty crazy, considering that they went from 0 to $1 billion or close to $1 billion in about a year. Mind blowing. This tool, this shitty, just dumb article from Yahoo Finance. ApeCoin falls 80% after peaking early on its first day. I'm not going to crap on the author too hard. I will crap on Yahoo Finance. You can see the results. Tropo is saying your journalistic integrity has really fallen since proclaiming me the 18th most influential NFT Twitter account. People are just not having this. They're just really not having this for the most part. Like, what are you talking about? The peak that lasted 3 minutes when there was practically zero liquidity, right? Yeah. So this is basically the chart, right? This is so deceiving. I don't even know if this is Bored Ape actually. Oh, now my computer's gonna freeze because I fucking jumped it. No, I don't know what that is. I don't think that's Bored Ape. But it looked similar to that, right? Oh no, maybe that's Yahoo. That's what it is. He's comparing it to Yahoo because they're going after him. So here's what Yahoo News said, and like I said, I'm not going to go too much on the quote unquote journalist. I don't have a lot of respect for this because this is just trash. After volatile early minutes, Bored Ape Yacht Club's ApeCoin settles on first day. They've changed that title, I think. ApeCoin Ape, a cryptocurrency launched by the creator of one of the largest non-fungible tokens, peaked 5 minutes into his first day of trading before falling as much as 80% during the first 5 minutes of trading and fluctuating between $6 and $8 for the rest of Thursday. This is like such crap. Like they're trying to FUD Bored Ape. They're trying to FUD the coin by saying it dropped 80%. While technically true, it misses the context. The context of which is if I pop over to the coin market cap, I'm just going to refresh it to see if it really is at $11.27 because that would be very cool. Yeah, so pretty much. So we're already coming back up from the lows of the day. Well, this is going to take a minute to load because my computer's slow. But basically, what's been going on is you can see it right here. This is very, very clear. So at 8:30 this morning, it opened at $20, a little over $20. And then what happened was within these first few minutes, I mean, we're talking, this is 9:30. So in 1 hour from the tip to the bottom, almost exactly an hour. I mean, an hour on the dot, 9:30. It opened at 8, that dropped at 8:30. It went from 20.4 to 650, a little like 658. Why? Well, there wasn't a lot of liquidity. And so you had these master traders in there and people that knew what the hell they were doing. And to be honest with you, the whales, the people that had 100 Bored Apes or 25 Bored Apes or 50 Bored Apes or a dozen Bored Apes, they were making, they hopped on and they saw that they had millions of dollars in a brand new token. And everybody knows this is super standard. This is absolutely normal. If you've been around the NFT space or any kind of token drop, you know that the minute it drops, it spikes because people like get caught up in the hype and there's that FOMO that happens. It jumps and then everyone that's smart says, oh, it just hit the spike. And then there's a sell-off. They sell the hell out of it, get their money, and wait till it hits bottom. And what do? They buy it back at a cheaper price and they buy more of it. So these guys popped in, saw that it was over $20 a token, said, holy crap, I've got millions and millions and millions of dollars. Let me just take some profit. So they just crashed it, right? The token tanks. I mean, this is not a lot of people in 1 hour. This is not a lot of people. This may be even a couple of dozen people that did this because there was not a lot of people that knew how to do this. I think for the first few hours, really for a good portion of the day, the only way to trade was through DEX tools. So Uniswap didn't do it. Uniswap was failing. People were losing money as they tried to do it. But those in the know and those that are way more advanced, a lot of them are professional traders, day traders. They knew that DEX tools would be the one to use. They had it all ready to go. They got their money. They said, oh, hell. And they cashed out immediately. And then this is what the article's talking about, right? It's like, oh, it dropped 80%. Well, yeah, in an hour, but that's not a real price. And it also doesn't take into consideration that if you've been anywhere online and you've been thinking about, if you've been seeing the news and what people were expecting, people were consistently expecting this to be about $5. They were saying $5 is about what we think it's going to be, somewhere between $4 and $6, at least when it starts to stabilize. And look what we got. It hit a bottom of 648, And it's a really nice steady uptick to where it is now, which is $11.50, 11.49. So it's still going higher. Now it might drop. That's fine. But to it's been a day, people. You're writing an article about an 80% drop based on the first hour something has been live. And this is what I talk about, even with NFT projects. And what if a project has been open a day, if a project has been open a month, if a project has been open a year, unless it's a complete sham, like, you got to give these, if it's a legit team, you got to give these teams like time, man. Like, that's not a legitimate article, and this is not a legitimate complaint. If this had hit 3 cents, everyone, I mean, yeah, certainly people would be like flooding it, of course. But most rational people that understand how this stuff works would have been like, all right, like, you just got to start somewhere. They could have launched it at zero. You understand? They could have launched it as zero, just given it free, had zero, and let the market completely decide that. There are tokens that start at 0.000000001 or 0.0000000, just so that they don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. And I mean, because if it starts with like a decimal point and 18 zeros, it can only go one way, right? So I really resent these kind of articles. And this is purely for people that don't get it and just want to crap on it. And the reason I resent it is because I have to hear about this crap. I hear about it later. Oh, it's a scam, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look, the tulip comparison. I've got some expensive tulips. Oh, it's a Dutch tulip. Oh, that's so smart. Solid investment, along with other 12,000 cryptos out there. It's kind of like a lawn service company. No barrier to entry into the market. Yeah, this is someone who's never had to learn how to code. Funny how these articles keep incorrectly referencing to people with money in crypto markets as investors rather than speculators. Sure, okay. Like people putting their money in the stock market is not speculation, especially when inflation is what it is, right? This investment is designed to take your money. You people will throw your money at anything. If it has a chart like this, fuck yeah. I wish I had more so that I could put more in. Meanwhile, people made millions today. These people have no clue. These are people that do not understand crypto. They don't buy crypto. They don't know what a SEX is or a DEX is. They've never used MetaMask. They don't know what GUI is. They've never paid for gas. They don't buy a token. They never transferred. They've never swapped. They've never used Uniswap. They don't know anything about anything, and they should be completely ignored, because these are people who don't know anything. Stay away from NFTs. Now everyone jumps on ApeCoin, driving it up 1,000% in one day. It has no industry behind it. It's not DeFi and describes itself as experimental. Bring on regulation. Yeah. Haha, this must be one of those quote unquote fake news stories, because I've heard from most reliable sources that crypto is 100% safe and always goes up in value. Ponzi. Like, these people, this is what we're up against. And I'm here to tell you, I hope it stays this way. I want these idiots to be out here for another 5 to 10 years so that I can buy an island. I really do. I hope this stays, because these people are so stupid. Meanwhile, and I'm gonna get off my high horse, my little soapbox here in just a second. Meanwhile, these idiots have their money in these things called banks, where they earn 0.01% interest on a savings account, maybe, if they even have a savings account. Meanwhile, the inflation rate was 7.9%, but I believe it's over 10% now. So they're losing about 10% on their dollar. At the same time, the cost of all their goods and services are going up. Again, if all of these clowns just did nothing, and this is what I tell newbies, brand new people, and even though these people are all idiots and they think they're saying something smart, and they're really not. If you're new to crypto and you don't know anything about crypto and you want to just be super safe, you are completely risk averse. The safest thing you could do, in my humble opinion, and I am not a financial advisor, do your own research. But what I tell my personal friends who trust my opinion is, I say, look, if you don't want to do anything else, take the money out of your savings account. Don't take it all. Be safe. Don't blow your rent money on this stuff, right? Take as much money as you'd like to invest out of your savings account, put it into USDC, right? Drop it into crypto, put it into USDC on a platform like Voyager, where you earn like a 9% yield APY, and you're beating inflation by 2%, or at least kind of breaking even. Or you can find another token that's nearly as stable as a stable coin. There are some really good projects out there that are very well funded and secure. And you can get a 9% APY or a 10% APY or a 30% APY. Like it's out there. You can still go on, like, if you the more risk, the more comfortable you are with risk, the more APY you can get, but based on what you decide to do. So again, don't take my advice. I don't know nothing about nothing. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. This is all entertainment. I probably have no clue what I'm doing. But my point is that uh, these guys are just throwing rocks at glass houses. And it's really a shame. And I get really pissed off by these stupid writers, these senior reporters, and these things like Yahoo Finance, where they're actually doing damage to people because they're pushing people away from crypto, when crypto is not only is it something that could save them and free them from their, give them the freedom that everybody wants. But it ain't like these people are going to be able to avoid crypto when UBI becomes a thing and the central bank digital currencies, the CBDCs, come out. They're going to be on crypto anyway. They'll just call it digital money. Like, I guess maybe because it's government backed, they'll feel safer. But yeah, if I feel sorry for these people. So let's look one more time at the price today. So we got ApeCoin. I think that this looks gorgeous to me, man. It couldn't be a better chart. It couldn't be a better chart. I mean, it's only day one. It could tank tomorrow. It could go to $100 tomorrow. Who the frick knows? But the general consensus in the community was that it would be around. We hoped it would be around $5. It's $11.30 as of right now. That's a huge win. It's a market cap of $3.1 billion. A fully diluted market cap of $11.3 billion. So I think that's a smashing success. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. That's just a nice, if by magic, it'll never happen because there's always ups and downs in the market. But if you saw that chart and that was a 20-year chart, if their 20-year chart looks like from 9:30 till now, 9:30 a.m. to what it is now, if it just keeps going like that, God bless them, because it's gorgeous. One final thing, and then I'm going to check out comments and answer some Q&A. This kind of loops us all the way back to that very first article that we saw with Wayplay and all the deals that are coming out. And I think this is really important. And this is for you guys too, if you're considering buying Ape or not. Again, this is just one person's opinion. I have no idea if it's true or false, or if it's going to work or not. But Pumajaw had a really good point, and I wanted to put a spotlight on it, which is this Ape run reminds me of Doge last year. Ape and ETH is the only crypto that matters in the NFT space. Community-backed rocket ship. Ape is the future of the NFT space. Congrats on selling. Congrats on holding. Zero room for fudding. So it's a really interesting point, and something that one kind of made me go, huh? Kind of give me a little bit of an aha moment. Again, it's been one day. It's way too early to tell. We're not going to know this for years, but it is kind of a good point where it was explained to me, and the way I think of Bitcoin versus ETH is that Bitcoin is digital gold, where ETH is digital oil, right? Nobody spends Bitcoin on anything that I know of. Bankers hoard it like gold, but likewise, you don't really spend gold bars on anything. You just kind of hoard it and hold it until you need it and melt it down, I guess. Ethereum is used everywhere. Everybody uses it. That's how you buy stuff. I fully expect Amazon to launch a payment gateway, and you'll be able to pay with Amazon coin or Ethereum. It's the new dollar. Ethereum is the USD, in my humble opinion, at least because I'm in the United States. That's how I think of it. It's interesting to think, though, that ETH is how you buy NFTs, or it has been how you buy NFTs. But now there's a new token that will also be used to buy NFTs because of the heat of the brand and the hype behind the brand. It's interesting to think that you may very soon buy your NFTs in ETH, but then use those NFTs across multiple partners and platforms and games using the Ape token. So I think he might be onto something. Not necessarily that Ape is the future of the NFT space, but Ape may certainly become, at least for a while, the future of the NFT gaming space. You buy it in ETH because that's already established, but then you use Ape to move into Decentraland, or you move into Sandbox or something else. So I think it's fascinating, and we can already see that, just to kind of complete that loop, where and Waveplay is saying, we're excited to announce we'll be adopting ApeCoin into a new play-to-earn game that's currently being developed. So it's already in progress. It's already starting to happen. So with that, I want to jump in and I want to check out your comments. So let's hop over the comments and see what's up, and see what's going on. Let's see. We said Andrew says, very interested in this. I tend to watch the holder count for adult fantasy. Yeah. That's it's something that's really interesting, and it's, you know, we've thought about it. It took us a year. We worked on just the season 1 launch and all the technology behind it for a solid year, and we thought about all of this stuff. I mean, if you saw the amount of rocks and wrenches that we threw at this project, what if this, what if that happens, what if this doesn't work, what if that doesn't work, and you have to take a risk. And the risk for us was like, we know that the way rarity traits work right now today are not the way they're going to work down the road. It's just too basic. It's very unique, and it's certainly fun, and it certainly has value. I'm not taking anything away from the value, but it's step 1. And it seemed ridiculous to us that people are inventing all of these new rarity tool tricks, like, one of one and stacking and basically design collages with characters, but not looking at 100 years of collecting, or more, a couple hundred years of collecting from fine art, from auction houses like Sotheby's and Christie's and Heritage. Like, what is it that makes these things collectible, right? And then being able to bring that in. And so you tie that with the other side of the coin, which is that all of these projects talk about building a global brand, building a brand, building IPs and this and that. But they're not thinking about character. They're thinking about design. The trick, though, and this is going to be hard to explain. This is just coming from someone who's been doing this for damn over 25 years. There's a difference between design and character. Bored Ape are amazing designs, right? What I mean by that are that there's 10,000 designs, but it takes more than just a cool design to make a character. So Jenkins the Valet is taking a design and turning it into a character. A character involves a backstory and actual storytelling, right? There is no way that all 10,000 Bored Apes are going to be all famous, like, characters, because they're too similar, and because most people don't really care. Most people don't really understand how to do it, and they're not really interested. They just want to hold it, and hopefully it goes higher. So will there be Bored Ape TV shows and Bored Ape movies and Bored Ape thises and games? 100%, but they're going to be turned into characters by way of story. And so it seemed foolish to us to ignore the entire history of how character is made, because character is what's valuable. You already see it. You already see it in adult fantasy. We are a brand spanking new project. We're just getting started. Like, we're like fledgling here. But when we're in Discord, and what are we talking about? If I said, hey, if someone posts something about Heinous, everybody knows what we're talking about. Everybody knows Heinous, right? Everybody knows Clairvoy. Everybody knows Primordial, right? If I say, hey, if I do something with Subdued, everybody knows Subdued. And that's because we started with the character first. And so it's a pro and a con. The pro is that we're ahead of the game, because all of a sudden all these other teams are like, hey, how do we make characters, because characters are what the movie studios want, and they're going to come up with maybe they can come up with a story, but it'd be really cool if we could come up with a story. How do you do that? So that's the positive, that we're kind of ahead of the curve on that, because that's what we've been doing for 25 years. But on the flip side, it's also different because we don't really fit. We don't totally fit in the current understanding of how NFTs work. If you see, like, we have, I think, a little over 400 holders for 2,200 NFTs. If you compare that to a normal way of thinking, then it looks bad, because you're like, well, at 2,200, I would expect to have 1,000 holders or 1,500 holders, but that's not what we're going after. What you guys have done is collected, right? We're all of us together, me, you, we're all collectors. I'm sitting here before hopping on. I'm looking at my Daredevils, right? I've been collecting old school Daredevils, right? These are some David Mazzucchelli classic Daredevils. Like I've collected Daredevil because I like Daredevil. So it's a very different way of thinking, and we're using something that's tried and true. And I think you're going to see a lot of these other projects start to switch and try to move beyond the 10,000 PFP. So it's a really interesting way. And Kara says AF is tricky because of the desire to collect the set. 100%. Right on. Exactly my point. That is the biggest benefit. It is a massive benefit. It is. I love seeing you guys like wanting to collect things. I want to collect things. I don't have a full set. Like, I don't have a full set of adult fantasy. Like, I desperately want a primordial too. I don't own a primordial. I would like one. If anyone wants to donate me a primordial, I would gladly accept your donation. But other than that, I plan to buy it from the community as soon as I possibly can. Right? Like, it's the collecting mentality, and so as these things grow, I think you're going to see more and more of that. I think the model that Ghost has with Pain Gang is a good model, where they're releasing one, and if you have this, you also get that. It becomes a chain of collecting. Pixel Vault understands that. If you collect, they even Pixel Vault figured out a way for you to hold on to mint passes. Like, who gives a shit about a mint pass? The whole point of a mint pass is that you burn it and get something else out of it. Like, they're like, but if you hold on to a mint pass, well, then you might get a bonus somewhere. And I think the idea of collecting the set, you're going to see more and more. And I think, again, going back to that graph from yesterday from Yuga Labs, people are starting to think of like, oh shit, like I got to catch them all, right? Andrew says, ultimately though, how realistic is it to gain a full set? I think I saw earlier a Russian group collected 4 to 5 full sets at the launch. What would drive demand to get full sets going forward? That I can't go into that too much. Let's just say that there are definitely plans for it. And the way that we've set up the collection is that, are there benefits to collecting the entire set? Of course. But you won't necessarily be penalized for not having a full set as long as you have partial sets. And even if you don't have a partial set, if you only have one, we're not going to penalize. So the Adult Fantasy Genesis NFT is the grail. It's the grail. When you see what we have coming out, as long as you're holding an adult fantasy NFT, you are going to have access to so much over the next couple of years. It's going to blow your mind. So there are ways to chain the NFTs, to chain the cards, so that it does benefit collectors. But I think, and I don't remember off the top of my head, so don't quote me, but I think there's only 17 complete sets possible, because there's only 17 primordials, I think. So it's a grail quest. You're right. I guess you could say the same thing with CryptoPunks or with Bored Apes. Like, how do you get a laser eyes? How do you get a gold fur, or rainbow skin or whatever? Like, how do you get a alien punk? They're freaking hard. They're incredibly hard to get. There are benefits for it, but there's also no penalty, right? So it's certainly there certainly will be ways to drive demand for the full sets, but it isn't going to be a penalty, right? It's kind of seen as a bonus. Carrot says the guy who used the Bored Ape liquidity pool to swap all the apes, claim the tokens, sell them, and then trade them back to. Yeah, this was really interesting, and it kind of had to shake my head a little bit. Uh, People are intelligent, so uh, yeah. So people figure out, and this is also just from a project owner. It's really difficult to figure out how people are going to hack your system, because people are going to hack your system. There are some geniuses out there. I would have never figured that out. Now I would have never done it. I mean, I'm a little lazy, and that seems like a lot of work. But yeah, to use a liquidity pool to swap the apes, claim the tokens, sell them, and then get them back. And now you have both. I guess you got both the apes and the tokens. Like, I saw a couple people do that. I saw people do that with the just pure on the liquidity pool. It's pretty crazy. Dusty said Adult Fantasy Island. Oh, now I need the plane boss, the plane. And there you go, the plane boss, the plane for sure. Did someone say heinous? What's up, Willard? Yeah, poor Subdude. Subdude's awesome, man. I love Subdude. My goal in life right now is to like I want to see the floor of Subdude and the floor of Finger Blaster just like go through the roof. I think it's hilarious. I love those characters. Andrew says, appreciate what your team does. Thank you, guys. Thank you, man, so much. Willard says, is it Willard? You're gonna have to tell me, is it Willard or Will ID? I think it's Willard. So hyped for the future. Yeah, just being real, and I talk about this. I think I talk about this a lot. One of the challenges. So we're in build mode and we're in marketing mode. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Starting to contact a lot of people, partnership deals, a lot of stuff happening. And one of the challenges. Oh, I see. He says Willie D. Got it. Awesome, Willie. One of the challenges is that as a small team, not even as a small team, I think it's just as a perspective. I was talking. I can't reveal names, but I have a couple of meetings next week with people you would probably know in the NFT space. And one of the things that I find fascinating is that the people who have built brands in the past, myself included, the people who have built intellectual property in the past for some of the biggest names and brands out there, see the space a little differently. Right now, we are in an area of the adoption curve called, we're basically in the early adoption part of the adoption curve, right? The adoption curve kind of has this big hump and then trails off. And the big hump, the center of the big hump is mainstream adoption. That's when everybody has an NFT and you're using NFTs to buy homes and to buy a coffee. And when everything gets into an NFT, that'll be mainstream adoption, like Google, right? Facebook. The beginning tiny little tip, the very, very tip is the early adopters. And we are just at the beginning tip, maybe just a notch forward in there. The early adopter phase is defined. One of the things that defines the early adopter phase is the way that the early adopter phase grows. It grows through hype. It is a hype cycle. You can clearly see that in the NFT space. It's all hype. It's all fear of missing out. I cannot tell you. I mean, think about this. Take it from me. Think about this. Next time you're on a call with a project that's coming out and they're talking about their launch, you will most likely hear, it's not 100%, but you'll most likely hear ideas and thoughts and plans that sound good. The problem is that there's nothing behind it. The team doesn't have the experience. They've never done what they're trying to do. Or it's just kind of ideas of what we'd like to do or we think we can go. These things are definitely included in all startups. Certainly we have places we think we would like to go, but we've done this before. So I was talking to some other founders of some other projects, and what's fascinating and what keeps me sane is that we tend to think beyond the hype cycle. It's like we're going into digital marketing, we're doing advertising, we're going to be bringing people in probably who've never bought an NFT before, because I want adult fantasy to be the first thing that they ever buy, right? And that takes a lot of education. It's a different type of marketing strategy than just paying off an influencer and paying off some magazines and partnering with some influencers to have them promote you to their massive audience so that they can get paid off of your sale. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Not that there's anything wrong with getting investors or getting influencers to show your stuff and partnering with people. I have no problem with that by itself. The problem is that for most of these projects, that's where it ends. They don't understand what it's going to take. Launching a product is different than growing a company. It's two completely separate things. And now one of the side effects of doing that is that you have periods like right now, like it can feel slow. It can feel like there's not a lot going on, but it's just the opposite. And you're going to hear me say that a million times because I know how it is with most projects when it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on, it's because there's not a lot going on. And you're like, oh shit, this project sucks, blah, 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 blah. But I'm here to tell you, and I'm not just speaking for adult fantasy. I'm saying that there are a lot of other projects out there, and you're going to hopefully see some of the partnerships we do that seem slow and they're battleships, right? You can be a speedboat or you can be a battleship, right? Like there is something to be said for teams that know what the fuck they're doing and take it one step at a time and do it the right way. Because if you make the wrong decision and launch your token too early, or say you have a DAO and just do a DAO for whatever reason, or fractionalize in the wrong way, your company is screwed. You're done. All it takes is one regulation or one law, and your entire company is gone, especially in this space. So I kind of want to kind of end this by saying, like, first, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys every day. I love hearing from you guys. And that we're building our faces off. One of the reasons we do all these streams is to show you, like, look, I know we don't have a lot to show like today or tomorrow, but we're building every day and we're doing partnerships like you can't believe. We've got some good stuff coming out. The second thing is to show you through the news and through what's going on in the space that not only are things moving, but they happen to be moving in the right direction, which is our direction. And we called it last year. We called it in March of last year. We said, this is not the way it's going to be a year from now, 5 years from now. It's going to be more like this, because what we're doing, what adult fantasy is doing, has already been established in popular culture. It's already been established through hundreds of years of collecting. I've been a collector my whole life. Why not use the things that collectors like? Why reinvent the wheel? So, or at least remake the wheel in a different image, right? So with that, you guys have any more questions, we can chat. If not, I want to say thank you guys. And yeah, with that, I will see you guys in the next video. And let's hop over in Discord. I'm going to hop over there and we'll see what's going on. All right, guys, take care. See you guys tomorrow night.